Hey guys, good morning. Craig Rappiana here again. And one of the topics I want to talk about is one of the most important ones that you're going to come across, because it might not make sense right now, because you might be thinking, okay, hey, that's cool, everything's good here. Yeah, we got money, we got this, we got friends, we got partnerships. But one of the things you really need to think about is partnerships. Okay, it's just like a husband and wife. I'm very outgoing, bit of a clown. Always like to joke and have a laugh sometimes, but I'm also very serious too. My wife is funny, but she's like watching the kids while I'm clowning around in a way, So you've got an A and a B together, but the minute you have two people that seek massive attention, or two people that want to be the front man of a product line, or however you want to situate your business, it changes. It turns into a bad relationship, because when people say, hey, I don't have an ego, I typically don't believe them, because you say what you are, right? If someone said, hey, trust me, no one trusts you. If you want people to trust you, say, let me be transparent, let me be clear. Here's what I'm thinking. Not like, hey, trust me, here's what I think. People don't tend to trust people like that. But anyway, going back to partnerships earlier on, I had a partnership where, we chose that I would be the front man because of the certain situation that we had. My partner at the time, still a great friend, I trust him to bits, and we've split, and we will continue to do business together in the future, but not at this point, because I've got a lot other items in the works and going on. But he had a full-time job. He was in a highly regulated, salary-driven workforce. So it made it very hard for him to be out into that. And plus, me being an HSN product host and having the connections with the Damon Johns, the Kevin Harringtons, all the guys in the industry, it just made sense that I was talking to them anyway. I was knocking on the doors, doing things with them. And so we decided that basically, I would take the role of the front man, which worked really well, because we built up the business. We sold it. We spent time on the weekends at shows, and we did really well. But a lot of people in his inner circle knew that he was one of the owners, but a lot of them not necessarily sort of knew that I was there. They didn't know where my role was, but then a large majority on the other side saw me as the guy, like I was that man. And I was very always clear, like, hey, I have a partner and this, and here's what we're doing. So there's no it's really hard to say no ego, but I didn't have to say it was all about me. I had no issues in saying I'm a partner with this, and I have a partner who helps behind the scenes, because that's what you want. You want to build with a partner that you're not going to butt heads with, okay? And you're going to know your role, because one of you is going to sacrifice income, even though the other one says that he's typically going to do that. You still get a salary, you still get a paycheck. You have to be able to get that narrowed down, because sometimes a partner in a relationship can be the same as a partner in a business. You're just going to butt head. Someone's got to be sensible. Someone's got to be outgoing. And you have to have a fine line between being a little bit, I don't know if I want to use the word ego, but people use ego against people that sort of, annoy them or have differences. But it's really confidence. And where do you get confidence? By doing it, okay? I'm confident in things that I do. I'm confident in talking to you right now, because I've been on television, I've done all this sort of stuff, and I know what I'm talking about. And people who have got confidence don't typically have BS behind them, because they've done it. So you speak on experience, you speak on facts versus opinions. So you want to have, when you look at a partnership as well, you want to have a partner who's done it before, taken it where it needs to be. And why a lot of people contact me, want to work with me, and then they also, with my two partnerships that I have right now, I'm teaming up with a couple of guys that basically said, hey, you're the front man, you're you're everything on this. We will be behind the scenes. And then of course I asked them what their role is, and they're not experienced in back of house data, spreadsheets and all that sort of stuff, which I'm going to teach you later on. And so my goal is, okay, I'll be the front man. I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And then of course, if you guys are not up to speed with that, you either get up to speed or we put someone in place to work as an admin or someone behind the scenes. And you have to be okay that you're paying an admin. I'm getting sort of a fee up front, and then the balance is split between the partnerships, because here's the biggest mistake. Here's the biggest mistake on what we did. We could have grown our company and made more, 10 times more than what we had sold it for. Did very, very well, but we could have done 10 more times because we didn't use the money to pay the front man to knock on the doors. I was holding down, I sacrificed a lot and I sacrificed the way that as a partner, I sacrificed a full-time gig and switched the business around. So I was busting my balls installing kitchens and cabinets. So I gave up a lot of the construction, which was more money, got into more of the high-end cabinets, which I knew I had the degree for. And I was doing larger kitchens in a shorter time frame. So I was working 16, 17-hour days, 3 to 4 times a week to give myself that Friday off, Saturday off, or even a Monday off. So I ended up dialing it in so good that I worked on kitchens and installed kitchens for 3 days a week. And then it got to a point where it was like, okay, here's what we're doing wrong. And we weren't able to grow that fast because in partnerships, and if you got a 50% partnership, your other partner has to be okay with paying you a salary. Because think about behind the scenes. Okay, go one step back. My wife might say to me, hey, you're knocking on the doors, or your wife or your husband might say to you, hey, you're knocking on the doors, and let's say your name's Jessica. Okay, Jessica, you're knocking on the doors and you're going out there and you're sacrificing our company. You're only working 3 days a week now, 2 days a week, and you're losing an extra $1,000 a month, right? You have to say to your partner, or your partner has to say, hey, Jessica, you know what? I know that you're sacrificing. I know you're the front man. I know you're going to do this really well. Why don't we take the income that we're making from the company and just subsidize you? How much money do you need? And you say, okay, I need 1,000. Okay, let's put 1,000 into you. So you're back up to your full salary, okay? And then eventually you start to go from 3 days to 2 days to 1 day. And before you know it, you're getting a full salary in the company. Now, that doesn't always happen when you're starting out. Whether you've got a small business loan or whatever. So that typically brings up the next question, is that don't partner with someone who's got no money. I don't know how to really adjust that, because if you've got no money, they've got no money, who's going to pay for invoices? Who's going to pay for certain things? So you really have to think about your partnership and whether you can build the business on the weekends and go to home shows and trade shows and boat shows and garden shows and stuff, and have a booth and give up your weekend with your family, your kids, and sell, trying to make as much money. And you can make good $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. I've done it on the weekend, which you can then implement in. Or maybe you switch it around. You get a night or a weekend job. Somehow you have to give up something, but you want to make sure that when you have a partner, you're not giving up all your time, all your efforts, and all your income if your partner's not okay with that. And that was the biggest mistake that we did. We could have grown so much more because I was only knocking on doors 2-3 times a week, We didn't have the money. I wasn't able to jump on a plane and go to Texas. I wasn't able to jump on a plane and go to Oklahoma or go to these different places. But when I did, it was so impactful. It was unbelievable. It was why we grew so much in our third year 30, we could have done that the first year, because egotistical stuff gets into play, and you start really thinking about, okay, who's going to do this, who's going to do that, because at the end of the day, people want to be known for their partnerships. They want to feel valued. So sometimes a lot of partnerships don't work out because one might say, yeah, hey, that's all cool. If that person is not okay with, like, yeah, I'm partners with Jessica, and we're 50-50 partners, but she's so good at upfront, and she just does an amazing job, and I support her, and I do all the support on the back of the side. If you're okay with that, that's awesome. But a lot of people say they are and they aren't. So be super careful on how you partner this. How do you structure it? Who's going to be doing what? Who's going to be okay? Because going back to behind the scenes, your partner or someone might say, hey, you're doing all this, and then vice versa. That partner's husband or wife behind the scenes, which happened to me, would be like, hey, this partner's out there, he's doing this, he's doing that, everyone thinks he's the complete owner of the company, and people get, depending on how you were brought up, and I'm trying to be careful here, people just love images. People just get, they want to go to a party and say, yo, I'm this, this, and this. I mean, it's like Facebook, right? So you have to be super careful. So think about partnerships, think about them clearly, and think about, don't necessarily think about 50-50 giving up. Think about who's going to do all the work and how are you going to do it? Because I can show you ways on making money by yourself. There's ways that I can show you how you can basically get, and I'm going to open this up in a circle where you'll get with my team, and my team will do everything. You won't need a partner. You won't need, well, unless you do, but you'll be able to work things in different stages, because you have to be okay when you sell your business. And I know that when we sold one of our recent businesses, we actually had a third partner who came to us and said, hey, I want to invest with you. I just want to be behind the scenes. And at that time, we needed some POs, and we basically got some money in from him, and he got all his money back and more. But my partner at the time had said, well, he didn't do anything. Why are we giving him X amount of dollars? And you have to look at that and say, well, hey, that helped us grow. But at that situation, I know what he meant, because we didn't use his money the correct way. His money was to put me full-time in the business. And it never worked that way. We ended up blowing that money on early business mishaps that you sort of, you get inundated by phone calls. You get inundated by this person. They're going to help you with this media, all that sort of crap that goes behind the scenes. And what happened was that value came back with a larger amount for him when we sold the business. And you always think, well, hey, it didn't really do anything for us. Well, actually, we sold the business. We grew the business, tremendously, into some of the biggest retailers in the world. So it worked. So think about your partnerships. Think about the money that's going to come from, and think about if you turn around and get 100,000 or 50,000 investment from a person, and let's say the company's valued at 50,000, or let's say they get 50% of or let's say they get 30% of your company. You have to evaluate that if you sell your business for $1 million. And by the time you pay taxes and all that sort of stuff, or $2 million or $3 million, that $50,000, I'd throw $50,000 into any business right now, because that's a huge return, especially when you have a team that can do it. So what I'm personally doing right now, I'll let you into a little secret, is I'm partnering with a couple of guys. There's four different groups that I'm partnering up with, and I'm basically, for me to partner up with them, I'm bringing in my team, because I know that just putting money in someone's hand doesn't do it. You have to have the experience. You have to know, okay, this $50,000 that we're putting into this partnership needs to be not so much just thrown into ads or thrown into a guy who could do the ads or a guy who could do Amazon or a guy who could do this. You have to be able to pay a worker bee at the same time, because without that worker bee, there's no honey. There's no honey at the end of the rainbow, as I would call it, because people don't work for free. Only you work for free. Only I work for free is because you are trying to hold down a job, you're trying to hold down a family, you're trying to do all this sort of stuff. But there's easier ways to do it. I mean, I'm just letting you know, think about partnerships. You know, probably I go on a little bit because you have to think about who you're going to partner up with, because someone's going to be the primary, someone's going to be the secondary, and you have to make sure that there's no egos involved, because egos will kill the business. So, all right, food for thought. I'm going to get some more coffee. Have a great day. Get it working. See ya.